There is a power that many people spend their entire lives searching for. They chase it through jobs, relationships, achievements, possessions, and endless effort, believing that one day, somehow, they will finally arrive at the place where their desires are fulfilled. They live in the expectation of a future blessing, a future opportunity, a future miracle. Yet the greatest secret remains hidden in plain sight. What you seek is not moving toward you. It is already yours. The moment you understand this truth, something begins to shift within you. Fear starts to lose its grip. Anxiety begins to fade. The desperate feeling of chasing and struggling starts to dissolve because you realize that life was never designed to make you earn what is divinely meant for you. The things that belong to you by right of consciousness cannot be withheld from you. They cannot be delayed by circumstances, blocked by other people, or stolen by competition. Most people are not separated from their desires by distance. They are separated by belief. They look at their current conditions and accept them as final reality. They measure possibilities according to appearances. If money is absent, they believe lack is real. If opportunity is missing, they believe doors are closed. If success has not arrived, they assume it is unavailable. Yet appearances are only shadows. They are temporary pictures created by previous thoughts, expectations, and assumptions. Your true reality exists beyond what your eyes can see. Every blessing, every opportunity, every answer, every supply, and every right condition already exists in the invisible realm of possibility. The seed exists before the harvest appears. The blueprint exists before the building is constructed. The song exists before it is heard. In the same way, your good exists before it becomes visible. The challenge is not to acquire what is already yours. The challenge is to recognize it. Recognition is the key that unlocks manifestation. The moment you stop identifying with limitation and begin identifying with abundance, life begins responding differently. The moment you stop speaking the language of lack and begin speaking the language of possession, new pathways begin to appear. Imagine living from the feeling that everything you need is already prepared. Imagine waking each day, knowing that the right opportunities are already seeking you. Imagine trusting that the resources, relationships, wisdom, and solutions you require have already been established in ways you may not yet understand. Such a state of mind creates a magnetic force. It aligns you with outcomes that once seemed impossible. You were never meant to beg for your good. You were meant to claim it. You were never meant to live in uncertainty about your supply. You were meant to recognize your connection to an unlimited source. What belongs to you remains yours regardless of appearances. Every dream planted in your heart carries with it the means for its fulfillment. Every desire inspired by divine intelligence contains the pathway for its realization. The moment you stop saying "I hope" and begin saying "I receive," the moment you stop asking "Can it happen?" and begin declaring "It is already mine," you step into a completely different relationship with life. You move from pursuit to possession, from struggle to expectancy, from doubt to knowing. You begin walking through the world with the quiet confidence of someone who understands a timeless truth. What is meant for you is not somewhere far away. It is already yours. Many people unknowingly spend years running after things that are already waiting for them. They believe that happiness is hidden in a future event, wealth is locked behind a certain achievement, and success belongs to a distant version of themselves. This belief creates a life of constant pursuit. The mind becomes conditioned to think, "When I finally get this, then I will feel secure. When I finally achieve that, then I will feel complete." As a result, peace is postponed, confidence is delayed, and joy is placed on hold. The universe operates through laws far deeper than physical effort alone. Everything that appears in the visible world begins as an invisible reality. Before a tree appears, there is a seed. Before a building stands tall, there is a blueprint. Before any accomplishment enters your experience, there is first an idea, a belief, or an image held in consciousness. The outer world simply reflects what has already been accepted inwardly. When you are constantly chasing something, you are unconsciously declaring that it is not yours. The feeling of pursuit often carries the vibration of lack. It says, "I do not have it yet." The subconscious mind accepts this message and continues producing experiences that match it. This is why so many people work harder and harder, while feeling as though they are moving in circles. Their efforts are driven by the assumption of absence. Absence, rather than the certainty of possession. Think about someone who is searching frantically for a treasure, while standing directly above it. Their search becomes unnecessary, because what they desire is already within reach. In the same way, many individuals are searching outside themselves for prosperity, love, recognition, and fulfillment, unaware that the foundation for these experiences must first be established within. The treasure is not hidden from them, it is hidden within their own awareness. The moment you understand that your good is already prepared, your entire approach to life begins to change. You stop approaching each day with anxiety and start approaching it with expectation. You no longer feel as though you must force every outcome through struggle. Instead, you begin cooperating with the flow of life. You trust that what belongs to you is finding its way into expression. This understanding removes the burden of desperation. Desperation clouds judgment and creates fear. It causes people to make decisions from panic rather than wisdom. It pushes them to accept less than they deserve because they believe opportunities are scarce. Yet when you know that your supply is limitless, you no longer act from fear of missing out. You act from confidence in what is already yours by divine right. There is a remarkable difference between trying to get something and preparing to receive it. One mindset focuses on lack, while the other focuses on readiness. A person preparing to receive abundance thinks differently, speaks differently, and carries themselves differently. They expect favorable outcomes. They remain open to opportunities. They cultivate gratitude before results appear because they understand that gratitude is an acknowledgement of possession. Many people wait for evidence before they believe. They tell themselves they will have faith when the money arrives, when the opportunity appears, or when circumstances improve. Yet true faith works in the opposite direction. Faith comes first. It sees the reality of a thing before it becomes visible. It acts as though the seed already contains the harvest because it understands the nature of growth. When you stop chasing, you stop living in reaction to appearances. Temporary conditions no longer define your expectations. A delay does not mean denial. A closed door does not mean failure. An obstacle does not mean defeat. You understand that visible circumstances are constantly changing, and that your inner conviction holds greater power than any external condition. The person who knows their good is already established, walks through life differently. They do not beg, force, or struggle for every blessing. They move with quiet assurance. They recognize opportunities without fear. They trust their intuition. They understand that what is meant for them cannot miss them. What belongs to them does not require endless pursuit, because it is already connected to them through the law of divine order and perfect timing. Every experience in life is shaped first by belief. Long before circumstances appear in the outer world, they are influenced by the thoughts, expectations, and assumptions held within the mind. People often focus all their attention on changing conditions while overlooking the beliefs that created those conditions. They attempt to transform results without transforming the consciousness from which those results emerged. Yet life continuously mirrors what is accepted as true deep within. Belief is far more powerful than most people realize. It quietly directs decisions, influences emotions, shapes expectations, and determines how opportunities are perceived. Two people can stand before the same situation and experience completely different outcomes because they approach it with different beliefs. One sees possibility where another sees limitation. One expects success while another anticipates failure. The external circumstance may be identical, but the internal interpretation creates entirely different realities. Many individuals unknowingly carry beliefs that work against their desires. They may wish for abundance while secretly believing money is difficult to obtain. They may desire success whilst believing they are not capable enough. They may long for recognition while assuming they will always be overlooked. These hidden assumptions operate beneath conscious awareness, quietly influencing behavior and attracting experiences that confirm them. The subconscious mind does not judge whether a belief is beneficial or harmful. It simply accepts repeated thoughts and emotional convictions as instructions. Whatever is impressed upon it consistently becomes a pattern that seeks expression. If a person continually thinks, "Nothing ever works out for me," the subconscious begins organizing perceptions and reactions around that belief. It notices disappointments more readily than opportunities. It magnifies evidence that supports the assumption. Over time, the belief appears to prove itself. This is why changing external conditions alone rarely creates lasting transformation. A person may receive an opportunity, but fail to take advantage of it if their beliefs do not support success. Another may achieve financial gain yet lose it because they still identify with scarcity. The outer world can temporarily shift, but unless beliefs change, old patterns often return. Beliefs act like filters through which reality is interpreted. They influence what you notice, what you expect, and how you respond to life. If you believe the world is full of opportunities, your attention naturally seeks possibilities. If you believe resources are limited, your focus gravitates toward obstacles and competition. The mind tends to find evidence supporting its dominant assumptions. Many beliefs are formed early in life and accepted without question. People absorb ideas from family, society, education, and personal experiences. They hear statements repeated so often that they begin treating them as facts. Perhaps they were told that success belongs only to certain people, that wealth requires endless struggle, or that dreams are unrealistic. Over time, these ideas become embedded within consciousness and shape future experiences. Fortunately, beliefs are not permanent. They can be examined, challenged, and replaced. The first step is becoming aware of the assumptions operating beneath the surface. Every recurring pattern in life offers clues about underlying beliefs. Repeated frustrations, fears, and limitations often point to thoughts that have been accepted as truth for years. Once a limiting belief is recognized, it loses much of its power. You gain the ability to choose a new assumption. Instead of believing opportunities are scarce, you can begin accepting that opportunities are abundant. Instead of believing success is reserved for others, you can accept that success is available to you. Instead of expecting disappointment, you can expect favorable outcomes. The subconscious responds strongly to repetition and feeling. When a new belief is repeatedly affirmed with conviction, it gradually takes root. At first it may feel unfamiliar because it contradicts old conditioning, yet persistence strengthens it. The mind begins adapting to the new assumption. New expectations emerge. Different decisions are made. Confidence grows naturally. Belief is not blind wishful thinking. It is an inner acceptance of possibility before physical evidence appears. It is choosing to align your thoughts with what you desire, rather than what you fear. When belief changes, perception changes. When perception changes, behavior changes. When behavior changes, circumstances begin shifting as well. The most successful people are not necessarily those with the greatest resources at the beginning. Often they are individuals who adopted empowering beliefs and refused to surrender them despite appearances. They expected solutions when others expected problems. They anticipated growth when others anticipated failure. Their beliefs became the foundation upon which their achievements were built. Every result you experience today is connected in some way to what you have accepted as true. The future is influenced not merely by effort or circumstance, but by the beliefs you continue to nurture. The assumptions you repeat today become the expectations of tomorrow, and those expectations shape the experiences that unfold before you. Writing variant equals standard, ID equals 68194. One of the most powerful shifts a person can make is learning to think and speak from possession rather than from lack. Most people are unaware of how often they reinforce the very conditions they wish to escape. They constantly describe what is missing, what is difficult, what has not happened, and what they fear may never happen. Their conversations revolve around obstacles, shortages, delays, and disappointments. While these statements may seem harmless, they continually impress the subconscious mind with the idea that limitation is reality. Words are not merely sounds. They are expressions of thought, and thought is creative. Every statement carries an assumption. When a person repeatedly says, "I can't afford it," they strengthen the belief of insufficiency. When they say, Nothing ever works out for me. They reinforce an expectation of failure. When they focus on what is absent, they train the mind to remain aware of absence. The subconscious accepts these declarations as instructions and works faithfully to produce experiences that match them. Thinking from lack causes a person to evaluate life according to current appearances. If money is scarce, they think scarcity. If opportunities seem limited, they think limitation. If progress appears slow, they think delay. Their inner world becomes a reflection of visible conditions. They allow circumstances to dictate thoughts, instead of allowing thoughts to influence circumstances. Thinking from possession requires a completely different approach. It means choosing thoughts that align with what you desire, rather than what you currently observe. It means recognizing that conditions are temporary, while consciousness is creative. Instead of identifying with what is missing, you identify with the reality you wish to experience. You begin thinking as the person who already possesses the desired outcome in principle, even before it appears physically. This does not mean denying facts or pretending circumstances do not exist. It means refusing to give temporary appearances authority over your inner state. A person can acknowledge a challenge without mentally surrendering to it. They can recognize a financial difficulty while maintaining a consciousness of abundance. They can face uncertainty while holding firmly to an expectation of success. The mind naturally moves in the direction of its dominant thoughts. If you continually think about lack, you become emotionally attached to lack. Your decisions, reactions, and expectations begin reflecting it. Fear increases, confidence decreases. Opportunities are overlooked because attention is focused on problems. The mind becomes trapped in a cycle where scarcity creates more scarcity. When you think from possession, however, a different pattern emerges. You begin expecting favorable outcomes. You become more aware of possibilities. Confidence grows because your attention shifts from what is absent to what is available. The mind becomes receptive instead of defensive. Creativity expands. Solutions appear where obstacles once seemed permanent. Speech plays a crucial role in this process because spoken words reinforce mental patterns. Many people unknowingly sabotage themselves through habitual language. They speak about failure before attempting success. They speak about defeat before taking action. They speak about limitations so frequently that it becomes part of their identity. Every repetition strengthens the belief behind the words. Imagine the difference between saying, "I never have enough," and saying, "My supply is constantly increasing." One statement focuses attention on insufficiency. The other directs attention toward growth. One creates feelings of restriction. The other encourages expectancy. The subconscious responds differently to each message. The same principle applies to every area of life. Instead of saying, "Opportunities are hard to find," a person can affirm, "The right opportunities are always appearing at the perfect time." Instead of saying, "I am struggling to succeed," they can think, "Success is unfolding naturally through my actions." Such statements are not merely positive phrases. They are deliberate choices about which assumptions will govern consciousness. People often underestimate the influence of consistent mental conversations. Even silent thoughts shape experience. The words spoken internally throughout the day gradually become accepted truths. If those internal conversations revolve around worry and limitation, they produce corresponding emotions and behaviors. If they revolve around confidence and abundance, they cultivate a different state of mind. Possession begins in consciousness before it appears in form. The individual who learns to think from possession understands this principle. They refuse to measure reality solely by visible evidence. They focus instead on the creative power of thought and expectation. They choose language that reflects trust rather than fear, confidence rather than doubt, abundance rather than scarcity. Their minds become aligned with what they desire, and their words consistently support the reality they are inviting into expression rather than the limitations they are leaving behind. Docs expend point 4 into 600 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. One of the greatest challenges people face is learning to trust what they cannot yet see. The human mind naturally wants proof before belief. It wants evidence before confidence. It wants visible results before faith. Most individuals are willing to believe in something only after it has appeared in physical form. Yet nearly every achievement, opportunity, invention, and transformation begins long before there is visible confirmation. The unseen always comes before the seen. Nature itself demonstrates this principle. When a seed is planted in the ground, nothing appears to happen at first. Days may pass without any visible sign of growth. To an impatient observer, it may seem as though the seed is inactive. Yet beneath the surface, processes are unfolding, roots are developing, life is expanding. Preparation is taking place in ways the eye cannot detect. The absence of visible evidence does not mean the absence of activity. The same principle operates in every area of life. Many people abandon their hopes because they cannot immediately see results. They pray, affirm, work toward a goal, and then become discouraged when circumstances remain unchanged. They interpret delay as failure. They assume that because nothing is visible, nothing is happening. In reality, some of the most important developments occur before any outward evidence appears. Trusting the invisible requires understanding that appearances are often incomplete. What can be seen at any given moment represents only a small portion of reality. There are countless forces, opportunities, connections, and possibilities operating beyond immediate observation. A single conversation can lead to a life-changing opportunity. One idea can transform an entire future. One decision can alter the course of a person's life. These possibilities often exist long before they become visible. People who rely solely on visible evidence become trapped by current conditions. If they see lack, they believe lack is permanent. If they see obstacles, they believe progress is impossible. If they encounter setbacks, they assume success is unlikely. Their faith rises and falls according to circumstances. They become prisoners of appearances because they allow the outer world to determine their expectations. Trusting the invisible means recognizing that circumstances are temporary while deeper realities are constantly unfolding. It means understanding that today's appearance is not necessarily tomorrow's outcome. Many successful individuals experienced long periods during which their goals showed little visible progress. Had they judged their future solely by present appearances, they would have abandoned their dreams. Instead, they maintained confidence in possibilities that had not yet materialized. Faith is often misunderstood as wishful thinking. In truth, faith is a state of inner certainty. It is the ability to hold a vision despite the absence of proof. It is choosing confidence over doubt when circumstances provide no guarantee. Faith does not ignore reality, it sees beyond current reality. It understands that conditions are always changing, and that unseen forces are constantly at work. The imagination plays an important role in developing this trust. Everything created by human beings first existed as an image in someone's mind. Before a building was constructed, someone envisioned it. Before a discovery was made, someone believed it was possible. Before success became visible, it was imagined. The ability to see possibilities beyond present circumstances is one of the greatest powers available to the human mind. Many opportunities are missed because people demand certainty before taking action. They wait for perfect evidence before believing in themselves. They wait for guarantees before pursuing goals. They wait for visible confirmation before expecting success. Yet life rarely operates this way. Progress often requires moving forward while much remains unseen. Confidence frequently comes after action, not before it. Trusting the invisible also creates emotional stability. When a person depends entirely on external results for reassurance, their emotions fluctuate constantly. Good news produces confidence, while setbacks produce fear. Progress creates optimism, while delays create discouragement. Their inner peace becomes dependent upon changing circumstances. Trust provides a stronger foundation because it is rooted in conviction rather than appearances. When you develop confidence in what is not yet visible, patience becomes easier. You no longer feel compelled to force outcomes or demand immediate results. You understand that growth has its own timing. You recognize that preparation often occurs before manifestation. You become willing to continue believing, even when evidence is incomplete. The person who trusts only what they can see limits themselves to current conditions. The person who trusts what is possible expands beyond present limitations. They remain open to opportunities that have not yet appeared. They expect solutions before they become obvious. They recognize that unseen forces often shape visible outcomes, and that reality is constantly moving in directions that cannot always be measured by present appearances or immediate proof. Everything that exists in the physical world was once invisible. Every invention, every achievement, every fortune, every masterpiece, and every success story began as something that could not be seen with the eyes. Before it became a reality, it existed as a thought, an idea, a vision, or a belief held within the mind. The visible world is simply the final stage of a process that begins in the unseen. The challenge is that the human mind often wants immediate proof. It wants certainty before commitment. It wants evidence before confidence. It wants results before belief. Yet life rarely unfolds in that order. The deepest laws of creation require faith in what is not yet visible. They require the ability to recognize possibility before there is any physical sign of its existence. A dream does not become valuable only when it manifests. Its value exists from the moment it is conceived. A goal does not become real only when it is achieved. It becomes real when it is accepted in consciousness. The moment an idea takes root in the mind, a creative process begins. Though invisible to the eye, forces are already being set into motion. Consider a farmer planting seeds in fertile soil. The day after planting, the ground appears unchanged. A week later, there may still be no visible evidence. Looking at the surface alone, someone might conclude that nothing is happening. Yet beneath the soil, life is already active. Roots are forming, growth is beginning. The process is progressing according to laws that do not require immediate visibility. The same principle applies to every desire and every goal. Just because something cannot be seen does not mean it does not exist. Just because results have not appeared does not mean progress is absent. Some of the most important developments occur beyond the reach of physical observation. Confidence becomes powerful when it is no longer dependent on appearances. As long as faith relies on visible conditions, it remains fragile. Good circumstances create confidence, while challenges create doubt. Success inspires belief, while setbacks weaken it. This creates an emotional roller coaster where peace depends entirely upon external events. True faith operates differently. It remains steady regardless of temporary conditions. It understands that circumstances are constantly changing. It recognizes that today's appearance does not determine tomorrow's outcome. It refuses to mistake a temporary situation for a permanent reality. Every great accomplishment requires this kind of trust. Entrepreneurs invest in businesses before profits exist. Inventors work on ideas before success is guaranteed. Builders create plans before structures are visible. Vision always comes before manifestation. Those who achieve extraordinary things are often willing to believe in possibilities long before others can see them. The imagination serves as a bridge between the invisible and the visible. It allows the mind to perceive realities that have not yet appeared. Through imagination, a person can mentally experience success before it arrives. They can see abundance before it becomes tangible. They can envision opportunities before they materialize. This inner vision creates a powerful expectation that influences actions, decisions, and attitudes. Fear loses much of its influence when trust in the unseen grows stronger. Delays no longer seem threatening because they are viewed as part of a larger process. Obstacles become temporary challenges rather than permanent barriers. Uncertainty becomes easier to navigate because confidence is rooted in possibility rather than appearances. There are countless things taking place beyond immediate awareness. At any given moment, opportunities are forming through conversations that have not yet reached you. Solutions are developing through circumstances you cannot currently observe. New pathways are opening through events that seem unrelated today but may become significant tomorrow. Life is constantly moving in ways that cannot always be measured by present evidence. Patience becomes natural when you understand this principle. Instead of demanding immediate results, you allow the process to unfold. Instead of questioning every delay, you maintain your expectation. Instead of focusing on what is missing, you focus on what is possible. The mind becomes calm because it understands that visible reality is often catching up with invisible reality. A person who trusts only what they can see limits themselves to current circumstances. A person who trusts the unseen remains connected to future possibilities. They understand that every manifestation appears twice, first in consciousness and then in physical form. They continue believing during periods when evidence is scarce, knowing that unseen forces are always at work, shaping conditions, arranging opportunities, and preparing outcomes long before they become visible to the world. There is a profound difference between wishing for something and claiming it. Wishing places a desire in the distance. It treats the desired outcome as something uncertain, something that may or may not happen. Claiming, on the other hand, is an act of acceptance. It is the recognition that what you seek already belongs to you in principle and is awaiting expression in the physical world. One mindset creates hesitation, while the other creates expectancy. Many people spend years hoping that life will eventually improve. They hope for abundance, hope for success, hope for opportunities, and hope for favorable circumstances. Yet hope alone often carries an element of uncertainty. Hidden within hope can be the belief that the desired outcome is still outside of reach. It keeps the mind focused on the possibility of receiving, rather than the certainty of possession. Expectation changes everything. When a person truly expects something good, they begin thinking differently. They begin speaking differently. They begin carrying themselves differently. Their actions are no longer driven by fear or desperation. Instead, they are guided by confidence. They move through life with the quiet assurance that what belongs to them is already making its way into experience. A person expecting a guest prepares the house before the guest arrives. They do not wait until the guest appears at the door. They make room in advance because they trust the arrival. In the same way, expectancy prepares the mind for manifestation. It creates an inner environment that welcomes the desired outcome before it becomes visible. The subconscious mind responds powerfully to expectation. Whatever you genuinely expect, you begin noticing evidence for. Your attention naturally moves toward opportunities, possibilities, and resources that align with your assumptions. When you expect favorable outcomes, you become more receptive to ideas, solutions, and connections that support those outcomes. The mind begins working with your expectations rather than against them. Many individuals unknowingly expect disappointment. They anticipate obstacles before taking action. They prepare for failure before attempting success. They assume rejection before presenting opportunities. These expectations influence behavior in subtle but significant ways. Fear enters decisions, confidence weakens, hesitation replaces action. The expectation itself becomes a barrier. Claiming your good requires replacing uncertainty with certainty. It means deciding that your future will not be determined by fear-based assumptions. It means recognizing that abundance, success, wisdom, and opportunity are not reserved for a select few. They are possibilities available to anyone willing to align their consciousness with them. This does not mean demanding specific outcomes from a place of force. It means accepting that your good already exists, and trusting that it will arrive through the right channels at the right time. The individual who claims their good does not need to manipulate circumstances or control every detail. They understand that life contains countless pathways through which blessings can appear. Gratitude is one of the strongest expressions of expectancy. Genuine gratitude acknowledges a good before it is fully visible. It communicates confidence in the unfolding process. Instead of focusing on what is absent, gratitude focuses on what is already present and what is already being prepared. It shifts attention from lack to abundance. When expectancy becomes a habit, worry begins to lose its influence. Worry assumes that something will go wrong. Expectancy assumes that something can go right. Worry imagines obstacles. Expectancy imagines possibilities. Worry drains energy and confidence. Expectancy strengthens them. Claiming your good also requires persistence. There may be moments when appearances seem unchanged. There may be delays that test patience. There may be situations that appear contrary to your expectations. During such times, the temptation is to return to doubt and uncertainty. Yet true expectancy remains steady, even when results are not immediately visible. It understands that temporary conditions do not determine final outcomes. The mind that consistently expects favorable results begins operating from a different level of consciousness. It becomes more creative, more resilient, and more open to opportunities. It no longer sees every challenge as evidence of failure. Instead, it sees challenges as temporary parts of a larger process. Confidence grows because trust grows. The person who claims their good walks through life with a sense of assurance. They no longer approach the future with fear of scarcity or fear of limitation. They recognize that life responds to belief, expectation, and acceptance. They choose to align their thoughts with abundance rather than lack, possibility rather than doubt, and certainty rather than hesitation, allowing their inner conviction to become the foundation upon which visible results are built.